at the beginning.
Hey guys, welcome back to Live with Reality with Trisha and Kiley on the Russell Hantz Show, where we have all of the latest live feed updates from last night and yesterday on Big Brother. We meet here every day at 12 o'clock during the lunch hour to give you all of the latest tea that's happening in the Big Brother house. So if you're wondering who's going home tonight, what are the latest campaigns, what are the latest talks, who's in alliance with who, then you're in the right spot. But if you're wanting to stay spoiler free this season, then you're going to want to catch us after the episode airs tonight when all of the spoilers will be caught up. So, you know the drill. If you're watching with us live, hit us with the comments as we go through the episode, and we'll be sure to touch on those as we move along. If you're watching after the show has aired live on YouTube, then hit us with a thumbs up, hit us with a subscribe, and drop some comments on your thoughts on today's episode. So, Kiley, we had an episode come up yesterday where we saw that we've already spoiled that Memphis does win the veto. He doesn't use the veto. So we finally get to see that happen in an episode yesterday. And we were right about the competition being ball balancing.
Yeah, so it was interesting to see a competition that we so closely associate with Survivor because this was basically a Survivor comp brought into the Big Brother house. I guess they made it a little bit more difficult. Maybe their platforms that they had to hold were heavy. Um, I
They
guess,
looked really heavy. I mean, they
yeah,
were
I
like
mean,
balancing them with their elbows. Like
yeah,
I
like forearm strength for sure.
I
And
would have been
so
out immediately.
yeah, no, it probably was easier for the guys. It's a little curious as to why they didn't weight adjust it. Like Nicole Anthony's not going to be able to hold up the same thing that a man is going to be able to. But it is what it is. We see the comp play out. Nicole Anthony, Nicole Franzel, the two girls are out pretty quickly. It comes down to David, Tyler, and Memphis fighting it out, which is not surprising just by muscle mass. And I think it really did come down to the strength as being a major factor.
Did it come down to the strength or did it come down to David yelling at Memphis?
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
I thought that was a great strategy, the most strategy David's ever had in the house, yelling at Memphis during the veto comp, but it wasn't successful. So, sorry, David, you're going to stay on the block.
Yeah, I guess at least he tried. But yeah, and as we talked, as we've spoiled, the Memphis does not use the veto. Nominations stay the same. That brings us current to where things are in the House, whether Nicole Anthony or David is going to go home. Um, Much of the feeds yesterday was the continuation of this craziness that is the House versus Jaysar. Everybody is out to get them. That's just plain and simple. And
For literally no reason.
for literally no reason. Every single thing that they do is misconstrued. This continues. I feel like we're a broken record saying the same thing again and again, but this is what is happening, folks. As soon as they say something, it gets twisted around. We
If
do
they
see
say
some.
nothing, if Janelle cooks some dinner for everyone, gets twisted around. She's
Right.
gaming.
Exactly. It doesn't matter what it is, it's all going to come back on them in a negative way. And so they're really just in a lose lose situation. There's nothing that they can do. They do have a really good read on the house for the most part. We see these conversations with Janelle and Kaysar where they are talking about they've got those four people that we keep talking about Nicole Franzel, Dani, Cody, and Tyler pegged together. The problem is that they're missing out on the Memphis and Christmas connection with this big group. And because they're missing on that, their read on the house is a little skewed. So they're thinking that they for sure have Memphis locked in as the tying vote to evict David, because Memphis had told them that he doesn't want to be in an alliance until the second half of the game. And for some reason, they're believing him. And the numbers should speak for themselves. If last week it didn't go in Keisha's favor because that whole group wanted to vote together. And then we see them all wanting to vote together again under Memphis's HOH. And Memphis didn't want to keep Keisha last week. I feel like Janelle and Kaysar are both good enough game players that this should be figured out. They should understand Memphis is in fact working with them. And the other read that they're really, really off on is Christmas. They're counting Christmas as a vote to keep Nicole A. And I do think that she is entertaining the idea more than any of the other four from that big group would. But they're misreading her and they don't understand her tie in with that other side.
Yeah, that's unfortunate too because we're all rooting for Jaysar here. The one thing they have off is Memphis and Christmas. And we saw in the episode last night, Kaysar and Janelle being in the HOH room many times with Memphis. And I mean, we're seeing similar on the feeds. They're always with him. They're kind of like telling him some of their, like giving him information, which really sucks. This is gonna play bad on them in the end.
Yeah. Yeah, they're giving him information that is correct, but they don't realize that he's with that group. One of the things we talked about yesterday is Nicole Anthony going to call this house meeting where she decides to blow up Janelle and Kaysar? And we do not get a house meeting, but we do get Nicole finally getting a little bit of courage to speak up to Janelle. And we've got this in a few clips that we're going to share with y'all.
Here we go.
Janelle, you guys shared a freaking bottle of wine for like 2 hours.
Yeah, because I was trying to get you off the fucking block. What do you think I was doing?
Not hard enough.
I can't make him do anything, Nicole.
He didn't put you two up. So I expressed I'm upset last night, and is what it is.
No, that's not what I said. That's not what I freaking said, Nicole.
Like, I feel like it's like, do you care? Do you not care? Bunch of horseshit.
She is getting mad at the wrong person.
Yeah, so she does finally speak up to Janelle. And when she says this comment of, you spent 2 hours up there with him drinking a bottle of wine, and Janelle says, because I'm trying to keep you off the block. It took Nicole, we cut this clip because there was such a long stretch of silence where Nicole just sat there before she worked up the courage to say, not hard enough. And when Nicole gets out of the house, she's going to realize how wrong she was.
I can't wait for these postseason interviews where Nicole is like, yeah, my demise was not trusting Janelle and Kaysar.
Yeah, and she has this moment where she's speaking to the camera and she says, am I reading this wrong? Are they on my side and I'm going to get out of here and look like an idiot? Yes, yes, you are. You are definitely going to regret your decisions because you're wrong.
The camera was probably like,
Yes, for sure. And so even though they have this little bit of a tiff between them, Janelle and Kaysar do not stop campaigning for Nicole A because they can see that the numbers are against them. And we see Nicole rallying for herself and campaigning. So how does she do on her campaign trail?
Well, this is the first day we've really seen her campaign. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
campaign
that's
strongly.
exciting. Yeah, actually campaign properly. Um, I don't know that it was strong enough.
Yeah, so one of the interesting things that we have talked about is that Davon says that she cannot vote against Kevin. And we see Davon just really having this internal struggle about where she sees herself and how she doesn't feel comfortable voting out a black man as a black woman. But she knows that for her game, Nicole Anthony's going to be better. And this is a really sensitive subject in the house and outside of the house. And Nicole Anthony is trying to be respectful of that with Davon. And I think, she really understands where Davon is coming from in her morals. But she brings up an interesting point to Davon of at what point in time are you not going to have this obligation for him? Like, what if he's on the block next week and it's somebody else that would be better for your game? At what point in time are you not going to owe it to him anymore? And I think that really makes Davon stop and think like, oh, this is a really valid point.
Yeah. I don't know that it's valid enough for Davon to come back and say, you know what, I'm going to vote for Nicole because it is actually better for my game. Time and time again, she has said very few times has she wavered from, keeping Nicole A. I mean, voting Nicole A out. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think in Davon's mind, she's going to say, you know what, there's going to be a point where this does end, and I'm not going to take this into consideration, but today's not the day.
Yeah, I think in my opinion that it's probably only like a one vote circumstance of I'm not going to vote you out the very first time you get up on the block. But if we're not working together, and David has made it pretty clear that he's definitely trying to work with guys. And so if Davon is not in with that, I think she's a smart enough player that she's going to realize I can't keep keeping him in the house just based on his ethnicity. And so maybe one vote is what I can see it working for. That's unfortunate for Nicole Anthony because I do think she easily gets Davon's vote in any other circumstance, but it's part of the game.
At the end of the day, these two have campaigned so poorly that it's hard for the house guests to even know if who is even better for their game at this point because they have
Right.
campaigned so poorly. I know we've hit on that every single day as we've gone through this, but it's truly just I have never seen worse campaigning. It's truly a shit show in this house.
Yeah. David is just so inexperienced in the house that he doesn't know what to do. We talked about the conversation he had with Kaysar, where it really is almost like Kaysar trying to convince David, like, tell me why I should keep you. And David's like, it's cool, man. If I get back, it'll all be cool. And we did do the Instagram live with Kat last night, and Kat brought up, David, you're not in camp comeback. Like, it's not when I come back or if I come back. You're still there. Like, you only have this one chance. And so David doesn't quite understand that in his campaign strategy.
No, he's lost. Homeboy is lost.
Yeah,
Him,
and it's
David's lost. Kevin's lost. They're both
Kevin
lost.
David's lost. They're both really, really poor reads. And I guess part of me wants Nicole Anthony to stay because that's what Janelle and Kaysar are pushing for, and I'm just such a Jaysar fan that I want what they want. But honestly, they both suck and they can both leave because they're not helping their games any.
Double eviction just because y'all both campaigned so poorly today.
Yeah, you both suck, so please
Exciting
go
new
out to
twist.
meet.
Expect the unexpected. Let's wait. I can't
No,
wait for Julie to announce this one.
yeah, we do get to see many of the people are saying, okay, if you have these votes to keep you, Nicole A., we want us all to get together and we want to kind of have it confirmed. Nobody is willing to firmly tie in their vote until that they've heard everybody else say it. So after a little bit of persuading, we do finally get the 6 people in a room that are supposed to be voting to keep Nicole Anthony. That is Bailey, Davon, Christmas, Janelle, Kaysar, Kevin, and then obviously Nicole A is there. And they have this conversation, and we get Kaysar stepping up, being the boss that he is, and giving this campaign speech, really trying to rally the troops, telling them that they are the misfits and that this other group is going to just run through them. And he is exactly right. And for some reason, this group is so blinded by the legend of Janelle and Kaysar, and they are so worried about the house's reaction to them that they are afraid to work with them. And Kaysar points out, so y'all would rather be at the bottom of this big alliance, knowing that you're at the bottom, than to come where we can with this vote, we can flip it and we can have the numbers.
This whole house is full of idiots. It's supposed to be all-stars, but it's full of idiots.
Pretty much. And so Kaysar lays it out for them. He feels like it goes pretty good. He leaves the room, and they all basically tell Nicole Anthony, nope, we can't do that because they are too big of a target. We can't be associated with them. And so his whole speech was for naught because these people aren't going to come together. They're going to vote out Nicole Anthony. They've pretty much laid it out there for her. She's still going to fight today, but it is not going to happen. We are going to see her sitting on the couch with Julie tonight. I see no way that this does not happen.
I agree. I mean, between this happening, Kaysar really, he was just like, I'm just going to give it the last, good college try. Let's see what I can do. And he's pointing out the very obvious to those that are, watching these feeds. This is so obvious. It's so obvious to Kaysar, so obvious to us, but the people that are receiving this message are not actually receiving this message. They are a brick wall, hearing what he says in one ear, out the other. Too bad, so sad. We don't want to work with you. We don't want to be associated with you. But Nicole, it's not like she's been trying to help herself either. So at this point, it's just kind of like, oh, there's nothing
Let's
that can
get
be
it over
done
with.
to save homegirl.
Yeah. I tweeted out that I hope when Nicole Anthony comes out of that house tonight and she sits down socially distanced from Julie Chen Moonves, that Julie reaches out and gives her an old swat on the head like she did Marcellus way back when and was like, what is wrong with you, girl? Like, you had Janelle and Kaysar working for you, and you completely blew it. And so I hope that she gives her just
She
a
might have
knock
like
in
a
the head.
6-foot pole, like a
Yeah,
fly swatter.
hit her with a 6-foot ball. That's exactly what I was imagining. That fly swatter from the Zoom call, maybe it's got an extender on it, and just give her a whack because this girl has completely missed the mark.
We have a
And I'm
comment
over it.
from Astrothy that says Davon and Bailey are not all stars. They are idiots to not team up with Kaysar and Janelle. Hot take or not?
I agree completely. They're idiots. I love them. I hope that they can turn it around from this week, and next week we can have something more positive to say because I'm fully rooting for Davon and Bailey. But these two are not seeing things clearly. Yes, they have their little group with Cody and Tyler and Enzo, or I guess not Tyler, Cody and Enzo. But those two boys are definitely closer with Nicole F and Dani. And so they are not seeing things clearly. The better side for them is definitely to go with Janelle and Kaysar. So
they called me for a reason. And I'm gonna fuck this shit up.
We're ready for you, Kaysar.
Let's go.
Oh, so God. After this conversation happens with Kaysar and, the misfits, we'll call them, Kevin, Nicole, Janelle, Davon, and Bailey being there, Bailey runs off and talks about this conversation.
Yeah, so she runs into the little camera room where Tyler, Dani, Cody, I don't remember if Nicole F is in there. Enzo, I think. And she spills all the tea. She tells them exactly what was happening, what Kaysar said, how he is saying that this other side of the house is going to pick them off one by one, and they're all in an uproar over why are they trying to stir shit up? And they are just so pissed. Like, how dare you play the game? You know that we're coming after you. You lay down and you take it. But they're pissed that they're trying to get people on their side. And it makes no damn sense. Like, what would they do if they were on the opposite side of this?
Literally, this house is full of idiots. They're all full of idiots. I don't like. There's no audition process for All Stars. They were just like, whoever doesn't have COVID, come on. And this is a social experiment of you all may or may not know of each other. You may or may not actually play the game. You may or may not campaign. It may or
But
may not be a shit show.
we're going to go through the motions of Big Brother. And Kaysar even points out that this is because of a pre-existing relationship coming into the house. These people pre-game together. Y'all are not going to break into this big alliance. So please come to our side and let's get something going. But
in what world does it make sense for you to say, I would rather be at the bottom of this alliance than work with you two? Why not work with them too?
that have nobody.
That have nobody. You can still come back later and be at the bottom of this alliance because, I mean, what? Then they go home. You're still going to be at the bottom. It doesn't
Right.
freaking change a thing.
Yes, exactly. But we have not seen anybody wisen up and go with that yet. So very, very frustrating. Obviously, this can all change on a dime depending on what happens tonight after the HOH comp, which we will get to. After this, we have a conversation with Nicole and Dani, and they want to know, why is everyone talking about them?
Nicole F.
Yes.
So we did see a little bit too last night on the episode where we get a tiny smidgen of CBS giving us the Nicole F and Janelle drama where, Nicole F says she was invited to my wedding and I don't know why she doesn't like me. She just doesn't like me. She's just talking about me. I don't understand. And if you haven't watched any of our other episodes or kept up with the feeds in any way, Janelle is not talking about Nicole F. She doesn't care about this girl. Homegirl means nothing to her. She is just a pawn in this game to her. Nicole F is having a total meltdown. So her and Dani are having this conversation about, why does Janelle keep talking about them? What's her problem? Da 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 da.
Why are you so obsessed with me?
Why?
Why are you so obsessed with me?
Why are you so obsessed with me?
We don't know.
Nobody knows.
It's a mystery to all of us. Janelle, we don't know why these girls are so freaking obsessed with you. She's the Regina George of the Big Brother house.
For sure. On a little bit of a more positive note, it is Dani's birthday today, and at midnight they had some wonderful cakes made for Dani. We've talked a little bit about how Dani and Tyler are vegan, and so they had to make sure that there were 2 birthday cakes in the house, a lovely option for the non-vegans, a yummy vanilla cake that looks tasty, and then they had this chocolate vegan cake, and it just reminded me of the DR session with Kevin where he says, have not, have no. Vegan, veg no, because I do not know what's going on with this birthday cake, but I would take a hard pass on that. It doesn't
I
look
guess that vegans also, and vegan population, don't come at me. Do
Don't
vegans
at me.
also eat different, like in a different method than the rest people who aren't vegans? Because like, are y'all just scooping the top off? Is the bottom not good?
And
I
like
don't.
just eating it with your hands.
The
This
top
isn't
part's
even
like
to enter.
non-GMO. Like, I'm so confused. Why
Yeah,
does it
this
look like
looks
this?
really terrible. Really terrible. Oh gosh.
Uh,
So
I'm not eating that.
happy
That has.
birthday, Dani!
If
This is
2020
your
was a
birthday cake.
cake, that's what it
Right.
looked like.
For sure. That's great. Oh gosh. So tonight we do get the episode where we will finally evict one of these 2 awesome block buddies from BB21. And we know that there will be a new HOH comp. We have been hoping for an endurance comp, something that maybe is going to play into Janelle's strengths. But instead, we are going to get a crapshoot comp. They had the feeds down for a little while last night where they got to practice. It sounds like it's going to be one like where they push something and try to get it closest to the end, like a shuffleboard type situation. So it's really up in the air as to who our next HOH will be. I was hoping it would be geared towards something that Janelle or Kaysar would just excel at, but I don't know about that.
Yeah. hopefully, we're all hoping for the house to turn. If we see another Cody HOH, y'all can just cancel the season. We won't be back the following day. Reality is canceled because it will be so. Janelle and Kaysar will go up if Cody wins. So we need Janelle and Kaysar to win to knock some sense into this house, knock some
Right.
sense into these all stars,
Right. Or
and really
maybe
get this game going.
Ian would be okay to win.
I don't think Ian wants to win.
I don't think Ian necessarily wants to win, but I don't think Ian would nominate them. So an Ian HOH would be okay, but just nobody from that is firmly on that side of the house. And
Ian's gonna have to
honestly,
show
pretty
his
much
cards if he
anybody.
wins, and I just really I think he'll throw it the best of his ability. I can't wait to see it, but I think he's gonna throw it.
Yeah, that will be interesting to see for sure. It is a tangled web of alliances, and it's going to be a breakdown. So
Yeah.
it's coming.
What if David wins HOH?
If David wins HOH, he's going to go after Memphis. Memphis pissed him off. He had been campaigning with that, but then someone told him to not say Memphis would be his target in case it does come down to a tie. He doesn't want that getting back to Memphis. But I think for sure, with the level of disrespect David feels that Memphis put on his name, that he is coming for him. I assume that he goes with what the house wants and probably puts up Janelle next to him. But for sure, I think his target would be Memphis. The house is probably not going to vote Memphis out, though.
So you think whoever's next to Memphis stays? What if it's Kevin? Like he puts up Memphis because that's who he wants to go home? Kevin next to him as
Sure,
a pawn.
something like that, then I think we can see Memphis. But if he follows through with his second nomination being somebody strong, then I would think that Memphis would stay. Anybody Janelle or Kaysar is up against is going to stay, and one of them is going to go home. So,
Does David even know how to make nominations?
no, he doesn't. It would be a very interesting week if David is HOH.
First
Tyler's
comp
probably
win.
going to run it. Yeah. Oh, oh my gosh. So I think Bailey or Davon would be interesting if they are HOH. We know that Davon has said that she does not want it. She is going to throw the competition too. But I think it would be interesting if they are in that circumstance as to which direction they would go because they are sitting pretty good in a nice little floater position there in the middle of the house. So that would be an interesting HOH for sure.
Yeah, I think they'll probably, also their goal is not to win. Like it's like, okay, if we win, cool. If not, meh.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody said David will not win HOH. I pretty much agree with that, but it is a crapshoot. So basically, who knows? Like he might be good at pushing shit to the end of a table and it's sticking. So
Cowboys
we'll
fan
see.
80 says, I was hoping it would be an HOH comp about the rules of selling a house in Minnesota.
Praise Jesus, us too. Like, please just let it be something that, I mean, like, can Janelle's little thing have a magnet that like makes it stick at the very end of the board? I don't know. There's got to be something. Please, BB producers, interfere. Like, we don't have to rig the entire game for them, but we've got to have a mix up where something happens to change the trajectory of how this thing is going for
We just
sure.
need someone to win who like knows what they're doing, please. Thanks.
Yes. And can just be an independent thinker.
Yeah.
That's what we need. We just need that beast of Janelle to come out tonight. We've got to see it.
It's the least you guys could do for us for 2020. So, not asking too much, CBS.
Yeah.
All right, so that brings us to our tweet of the day.
Tweet, tweet.
Comes from a random person on Twitter. Let me.
Yeah, we didn't find any past house guest or survivor people to find a really quotable tweet from, but we found this one that was pretty entertaining. And so this is what we have to share with y'all today.
From
How the
at,
house. Yeah.
at Vintage Wingnut. Also, random name. So, we're here for it.
How the house views Janelle as the Wicked Witch versus how the fans view her as the good witch Glinda.
And this is so true.
Yes.
Again, everyone thinks she's talking about she just hates everybody in the house, when in reality she just wants to work with everyone in the house. And it's gotten Nicole A sent home today, so here we are.
Womp womp.
Happy week 2, guys.
Yep. It's been rough. It's been a rough one. But that should be what you expect in 2020. I mean, there's no reason why we would expect this to go any differently.
Yeah, so here on RealiTEA, we're going to lower our expectations a little bit. We're going to just know that every day it's going to be terrible in the feeds. It's going to be boring. People aren't going to know how to play the game. We had brought our expectations up because of it being all stars, but we're gonna lower those a little bit. We're gonna go down. Someone in the comments said BB20 equals BB22 equals BB20. Yeah, we'll bring them down. Let's just get on that Paul level of.
Now, BB20 would be Tyler's season, which was really good pre-jury, but really shit after that point where level 6 just ran everything. And that is kind of how it's setting up, is that this group is going to run through the house, and it's probably something, if they win HOH, if any of the 6 win, I'm done. That's what Khalil says. Absolutely. If any of the 6 win HOH, then everybody just might as well just come to terms with it, buckle in. This is how it's going to be for the next 3 months. And hopefully you can find one of those 6 to root for, because they're going to be here for the long haul.
Yeah, we're all on board with this, Khalil. So at least the viewers of all of RealiTEA we're out.
Yeah. Yep. Oh gosh. So we did talk with Kat last night on the Instagram live, and she talked about how she basically manifested Ian being safe. And so she was going to work on something to keep Janelle safe tonight and to speak a Janelle HOH into existence. So if anybody has any ideas on how to bring that to fruition, we need it. Bring it into the universe.
Get your sage, whatever you do to manifest things happening. Someone please call Caitlin Herman, slide into her DMs. Like, we have got to make this happen for the continuance of a good season. Because if Janelle goes, again, what is even this season? Is it even All Stars without Janelle? No. So I don't know. If you have Louboutins, get those out and like sage over them, something to really manifest the energy in on the Big Brother lot.
Yeah, all positive thoughts towards Janelle
Positive
and Kaysar.
vibes only.
Yes.
All right, guys. So that brings us to the end of our show today, but we do have some exciting news that if you are subscribed to the Russell Hand Show here on the YouTube channel, then you will get a notification when he goes live tonight after the Big Brother episode with none other than the Rachel Riley. So catch Russell after the Big Brother show comes on tonight live, which I think is 9 p.m. Central Time. Maybe it's 8. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it's at 8. I don't know. They've kind of mixed up the times this season.
They have. So normally the
But
Thursday episode's late.
I expect Janelle to spill some tea on this
Rachel.
drama with, who did I say, Janelle?
You said Janelle.
She's on my mind. I expect Rachel to spill some tea about this drama with Nicole Franzel and Janelle. So that'll be interesting, and we will for sure bring that to y'all tomorrow.
Yeah. So can't wait to bring you guys. If the HOH conf goes into the feeds, then know that we'll bring you the updates tomorrow. But until then, everyone subscribe to the channel. So you get the updates whenever Russell goes live, whenever we go live. You will get all of the updates with that subscription to the channel. Hit us with a thumbs up and drop us with comments on your thoughts on the latest things going on in the Big Brother house. And don't forget to check us out on Instagram. As we mentioned a few times in the episode, we went live last night with an interview with Kat Dunn from BB21. It was a great interview. We had a lot of fun talking to her about the season, the episodes. She does keep up with all of the feeds. So, spoiler alert, if you check out that live, it is linked on in our highlights on our Instagram at RealiTEA, RealiTEA_TRHS. Our Twitter handle is the same, so please be sure to check us out on there. Until then, we will see you guys tomorrow at 12 o'clock Central Time for some more lunchtime tea. Cheers to that, Kylie, and we will see everyone tomorrow. Bye, guys.